Well, good morning from the land of temples and tabernacles. We're back in St. George, Utah, down at the bottom, headed back towards Nevada today. Actually back down pretty close to Las Vegas, so we're headed from the land of the saints down to the land of the sinners. We're up here because tomorrow I've got a meetup going on, a little signing, a little meet and greet, a little tiki sale going on at my friend Tom Develin's Monster Museum in Boulder City, Nevada. Side note, look at that sign, that is cool. And I'm getting nervous, I always get nervous before those things, but no need to worry about that now. That's tomorrow, Justin's problem. Anyway, it's been kind of a whirlwind trip. We've packed in a lot of stuff. We have quite a bit of driving to do again today, so I figured before that happens, since Allie is here with me, we might as well come downtown and roam around and check out all the cute little stuff in the historic downtown. The kind of stuff I normally drive right on by because I'm usually in a hurry trying to get between Salt Lake and Las Vegas. I was just looking for a public restroom here, so we came into this public park, and look at this. There's a whole little splash stream and a little waterfall, and all the little kids are playing out here. Look at this, there's a little carousel out here. Everybody's hooting and hollering and having a good time. That is adorable. I was about to say there's no carousel in my hometown of Anaheim, and then I remember, well, we have Disneyland. That is so stinking cute. Ooh, and so is this right here. Look at that. Oh my gosh, and then this is unusual. Look at this. It's an absolutely gargantuan guitar made out of all kinds of scrap metal. Would you look at the size of that thing? It's several alleys tall. I know it's an acoustic, but you're definitely not allowed to play country on that thing. It is way, way too metal. Look at this, there's statues everywhere. They got a cute little Stars Hollow gazebo. St. George is a very historic city, goes all the way back to at least the 1870s, obviously settled by Mormon pioneers. In fact, there's statues of some of those pioneers littered all around the old downtown. Full disclosure, I am not a member of the fold or anything, but I do find Mormon history, especially in the West, absolutely fascinating. So I was just here in St. George a couple of weeks ago filming Brigham Young's winter home down here. He was the Mormon, how do we put this, charismatic leader, pioneering prophet who brought the LDS folks from sort of the Midwest out here to Utah in the first place. And like that old school from 1901, it looks brand new. Everything looks so clean and tidy in St. George. Sometimes you almost can't tell what's an old building and what's a newer building. Kind of got to get out on foot. Once you start looking long enough, you start seeing some of that old school pioneer architecture. There's a ton of cute little shops down here. Like, look at this little house built in 1864 here. It's a little barber shop. I've been to St. George dozens and dozens of times, and I never heard of this, the Green Gate Village. So a bunch of historic buildings all clustered together, turned into stores. And some of these historic buildings were actually moved here to create this little Green Gate Village area. Others are still located on their original sites. What a cool little idea. What a cool way to preserve history, to move them all to one location and then have them be shops so that the buildings can still be maintained and preserved. You don't have to have a historical society do it or donations. I can't believe I never knew this was here. And each one of these is a historic building. And the one we actually came down to see, the only one that I know for sure is on its original site, is this one right here, the Judd's General Store, built by Thomas Judd in 1911. Right in front of the house he had been living in, which I believe is called the Bentley House, and it's still located right behind the store. That's where he started the store. He started his little mercantile business in sort of the front room of that little house back there, expanded it into this purpose-built building against the street. Then unbelievably, I heard this guy who is actually related to Thomas Judd giving a little historical tour in front of this building a minute ago. It was almost torn down at one point so they could add more parking spaces out here on the street. Luckily, it was preserved. It's still standing right there, and it's still selling ice cream, soda, candy, and sundries. That's one of those cute little places out of a dream. Exactly the kind of place you hope you'd find in an old historic downtown. Look how cute this is. Oh, look at that. I'm assuming that must be Thomas Judd himself. And then I believe his son ran the store long after he was gone too. I'm not sure if the Judd family still runs it or is still involved, but it's cool that it still has the same name. And look at this old soda fountain style counter. That is so cool. It's so cute. They have soup, they've got grilled cheese, and dang, they've got butterscotch root beer. We came downtown because Allie was thinking about maybe going to a little cafe or a little restaurant. As soon as she heard soup and grilled cheese, she got in line. It's like all of Allie's favorite things colliding. Ham and cheese melt, rock candy. And then, oh my gosh, I haven't seen these in forever. They got candy cigarettes, wax lips, wax mustache, and look at candy pipes. Wow, look at that old safe right there. I love this. It's like the kind of thing you would see on a Route 66 postcard, but you have trouble finding on Route 66. And it's a very popular choice today. I had to get outside. I was getting a little claustrophobic. Like I said, I saw some groups going by on historical tours. The park was full of kids. It's a weekday. I'm just guessing it must be spring break in town or something is going on because it is just full of people down here. I really love these. I really love seeing all these historic buildings in one place. And this is another one of those buildings that's actually still in its original location. This two-story house here was once the home of Orson Pratt, who was one of the original leaders of the colony down here that established St. George. And the kind of cool but kind of weird thing when you come to Utah, you meet a lot of people who are descended from the original pioneers still living in the same towns. And of course, without making a big deal about it, but you know, it's just a fact of history. Back then, they had a lot of wives and made a lot of children, so there are a lot of descendants. It must be cool to be living in your hometown and coming back and go, yeah, my granddaddy used to live in that building. I mean, my family kind of came from all over the world and slowly made their way towards California and converged. Only in the 80s, both sides met in one place to make me kind of jealous of people who can tie themselves to a place for a couple of 100 years and not just a couple of decades. Look how happy Allie is now with her little soup and her breadstick. I almost can't believe this little place. I can't believe I never heard of it before. I heard of the general store before. I'd driven past it, didn't realize there was a whole historical village with little running streams, fire pit, vintage clothing stores. There's a little bookstore, more than one barber shop, and look at this, a violin gallery right here. I mean, how cool and how cute is that? All right, well, Allie finished her food and now she's going next door, something a little less LDS, and getting herself a little coffee treat. And look at this coffee shop. I mean, is everything in this town just perfectly pristine or what? You got your little soda fountain, your cute little coffee shop, historic buildings. Look at this, there's antiques over here. A bathtub with flowers in it. What is this place? And then next door is a gold ore store. They got coins in here, they got rocks, there's even swords in the back. What is it with like rock shops? They always have swords. There are more saber-tooth tiger items than I was expecting though. Wow. This town rocks. There's another little rock and crystal shop next door, Awakened Soul Vibin' Shop. And this is what I mean about not being able to tell the new buildings from the historic buildings, because this is one of the oldest buildings on the street over here. This was like the Bishop's Storehouse. I forget exactly what it was called, but back in the day before people had a lot of cash, they would pay their tithing apparently with chickens, eggs, whatever. It would all be stored in this brick building, which is obviously very old, but look how clean and pristine and perfectly it blends in with everything modern down here. Oh yeah, there you go, the Bishop's Storehouse, 1873. And I bet the bishop could have never predicted he'd be right next door to a hipster taco shop and barbecue joint, bumping out some R&B music onto the streets. Oh my gosh, and there's another antique shop, Main Street Antiques. Wow, this is so cool. There's so much neat bric-a-brac everywhere in here. Old bottles, neat paintings from old local artists. There's even a freaking spinning wheel in here. Don't touch that thing. Oh yeah, it's gotta be spring break. It's gotta be something. There are people everywhere downtown today. They got a little bit of everything. They got some really nice, like, hip furniture stores, lots of fancy stuff. Everything is so clean and pretty. Everything feels very alley down here, surprisingly. Right on the edge of the desert. It's crazy because that was all just part of Main Street. There's still a little bit of more Main Street up here. Then you have St. George Boulevard with all kinds of historic buildings and little shops. We're close to Zion National Park, so you get tons and tons of sort of hipster, outdoorsy visitors to St. George. A lot of vintage shops out here, surprisingly. It's a nice town. It's a nice town. What can I say? Uh-oh, we spotted a record store over there, Rock House Records. Whenever there's a record store, Allie must go in. Allie must go in. Okay, this is awesome. We were just walking towards the record shop and I kind of noticed like all these little hipster stores, everything's so clean and modern. One of these things was not like the others. Then I noticed this little plaque on the door. This was a saloon from Silver Reef, the ghost town I just filmed a couple of months ago, which has mostly been abandoned. There's only a few remnants left. This was a saloon, moved here after the boom days. Obviously became a printing shop at one point, but I peeked through the window. Doesn't look like much printing has been happening lately, but that's cool. Seeing a little piece of Silver Reef history. Was not expecting that. Just goes to show you never can tell what you'll find if you actually get out on foot and walk around. I've driven through St. George on the freeway like 50,000 times, and no town looks like anything from the freeway. You gotta get out, you gotta walk around. So cool. Dude, I'm just wondering if everyone in this entire town is an interior decorator, because every store, everything looks perfect. It's not just the outside of the buildings. The inside of every store looks amazing. If only I could get my house to look 1/100th this organized. Dude, in terms of new records, this might be the best stocked record store I've been to in a long time, especially in a small town. I'm picking up this right here, the Muddy Waters Woodstock album. Don't have this on vinyl. There's like a ton of punk rock stuff in here, bands I haven't listened to in a long time. Like here's an old favorite of mine, 999 and everything. But surprisingly, I don't listen to a lot of punk rock all the time now. Most of what I listen to is the blues. All right, got my album. I didn't even notice this when we walked in. There's St. George Ghost Tours. I've got to go on one of those one of these days. I love days like this where an Allie's with me and we can do little Allie things that she enjoys. Again, interior designers are making a mint in this town, but look at this old display counter. That is neat. This is the weirdest mix of like upcycled antique things, hipster stuff. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Knickknacks. I feel like this is the type of store the American pickers sell things to for displays, you know? Like you could picture Mike Wolf pulling that out of somebody's barn. Oh wow, look at that sign. Love old hand-painted signs and old porcelain signs, just old signs in general. This is so cool, and there's all kinds of posters and records in here, used records. If I find the same record used in here, I'm gonna be grumpy. Ooh, and my other favorite thing, some old books hiding in here. Even the music playing in the store is playing on a record player. This is like way hipper than I could ever be, man. Whew, I don't see anything that I vibe with up here. Except this though, the power of the Cobra. All right, well, that's our little tour of downtown St. George today. I like doing Allie stuff. She got her little treat. But speaking of people tied to a place for a long time, there are people that were tied to this place long before Brigham Young ever came to Utah. And just a short drive away, in the middle of an otherwise perfectly normal suburban neighborhood, there's a connection to those people, almost like a window into another time. Right here in this little subdivision, I guess while they were building it, they made a discovery and saved this little tiny plot of land on the corner here of Geronimo and Navajo Drive. This is Petroglyph Park. Like I was saying, they were building this neighborhood, building these nice little suburban Brady Bunch looking homes right here under the mesa, and they made a discovery on these huge boulders here. Now they're preserved in this little neighborhood park. There's not much going on, as you can see, just some dirt, some mesquite, some cactus, and one peaceful little swing that Allie discovered over here. And then these huge rocks with Native American petroglyphs tapped right into the surface. Now these mysterious markings were left behind by the ancestors of the Puebloan people, so people like the Hopi, Acoma, their ancestors that the Navajo called the Anasazi, sort of ancient enemies is the way it's most often translated. You used to see kind of those ridiculous History Channel documentaries like The Mystery of the Anasazi, and you see things where it's like they're aliens or whatever. How did they disappear? They didn't disappear. They broke apart as a one unified culture, and their descendants are very much alive today. But of course they did leave behind fabulous cliff dwellings and places like Chaco Canyon that are absolutely mind-blowing, and often these mysterious markings, whether they were just created out of boredom, someone was sitting here in the shade of a rock and was just tapping away, or they were created as sort of migration symbols or sort of writing, or sometimes people think astrological symbols, or maybe all of the above, maybe a little bit of all of the above. No one can say now. There are a lot of different theories and a lot of the remaining Pueblo peoples. But look at this, look at this. It's just like an epic, incredible amount. In this light here, and it's always the way with petroglyphs, it's gonna completely depend on how the light hits it, how legible they're gonna be. You can really see just thousands of little markings here. It almost does look like writing, right? It's like you found some kind of Egyptian stele or something. It's like the Rosetta Stone over. This is amazing. And this is just sitting here in this neighborhood. It's incredible. I see a little bit of graffiti. I see a little bit of like, you know, RJ10E, whatever. For the most part, it's pretty intact. This is incredible. I don't know what the rules are. I didn't see any signs or anything. I assume I could probably stand up on this. I see some footprints. But then again, I know that the oils in your hands, you know, can damage these things. This is incredible. You see the spiral design, that's very common in ancestral Puebloan or Anasazi petroglyphs throughout the Southwest. So many interesting symbols. I see a person up there. I mean, look at that. That could have been tapped into that rock 300 or 400 years ago, or that could have been 1,000 years ago. There's no way of knowing, but it is so recognizably human. It boggles my mind that there was such a long period of time, especially in the American West, even into that time period when we were inventing steam locomotives and printing presses and all kinds of mechanical innovations were happening in the Industrial Revolution. Even back then, that people just didn't believe we were all kind of one species even. So much harsh judgment and division in the human species, where to me, I can look at that and say, oh my gosh, those ancient Native Americans, they were people just like us. They drew a little stick man just the way I would tap a little stick man into the rock. And they are tapped. You can see right here a little spiral on this rock. Can you see that? And some other things that are kind of faded away. And you can see all these little pock marks. This camera's not so great at close-ups, but right here, see, tap, 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 tap. That's how all of those were created. You just pick up a little rock off the ground here, a little piece of stone, and just tap away. That's sort of the oxidized surface right here, and then get to the sort of purer stone underneath. And those designs can stay in these rocks for literally thousands of years. It's amazing because you can see how some of it is chipped away, like some of it has just kind of flaked off over time, probably just perfectly naturally. And what I notice is that the sun, especially the afternoon sun, would be right over your back, and the sun's kind of hot on my back here, and I kind of want to just get in front of this rock to be in the shade. I've noticed that with a lot of petroglyph sites, like somebody sat there and had to tap, 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 tap away at the rock. And on the sunny side, or the side that is in the sun most of the day, you'll often see a lot fewer designs. That's the case over here. I mean, at the moment it's shady. It's always the spots with the overhangs, the spots where somebody could have sat for a long time. And you just start thinking about that. What if I was out here 300 years ago? And you have to wonder, like, were they messages that people understood? Because there's a lot of modern Native Americans who say that they understand, or they have traditions passed down about what certain symbols will mean. And I often wonder if it was a sort of form of writing and communication. Sometimes it really looks like it's commemoration, right? You can see like hunting scenes and stuff like that. You'll see certain animals, you'll see certain like winding symbols that definitely seem to represent rivers and stuff like that. I see a few things on here that kind of look like lizards, and I don't know, it's very hard to tell with this one, just the way the light is on it today. There are actually hundreds and thousands of petroglyphs and petroglyph sites all around this region. Actually, there's a pretty famous one about, you gotta go 4 or 5 miles down a dirt road outside of town, so I'm not gonna go today. But the amazing thing about this one is just the juxtaposition, this giant boulder right here, which is like 5 or 6 alleys tall. And then you turn your head and you're just literally standing pretty much in people's backyards. You're just like, kids must ride their bikes around here, you know, people come and go, bringing in the groceries. Oh yeah, there's the petroglyphs over there. I just think that is so cool. I love them. I love those petroglyph sites. I really love, and it's hard to get people talking on reservations and stuff like that. But I really love going out and visiting different reservations. And when you do find someone who's willing to talk to you, they kind of chat to you about different stories and different things like that. I find Native American culture absolutely fascinating, and they can tend to be kind of shy with strangers, which is very understandable. But once you get talking, I find them to be some of just the nicest people, and it's just so fascinating. Their tie to the land goes back and back and back. And it's incredibly hard to see because of the lighting, but there's some more over here on this side, in sort of the black, rusty side of the rock, if I can say that. It's just neat. What a cool thing to have in your backyard. And it's amazing the way that, like, if somebody, you know, scratched something on a rock now, I'd be like, what do you do? Come on, don't do that. But then, you know, if they scratched on a rock 1,000 years ago, you're like, wow, fascinating, amazing. There is a difference though, you know, because although I can't tell you what any of those things mean, and maybe somebody did tap some of that out because they were bored, it probably doesn't say, for a good time, call Susie or whatever. You know what I mean? And it is kind of amazing, like, looking at it and knowing that it's, to us at least, it's a mystery. Like, was this religious? Was this astronomical? Was it aligned with the stars? Were these migration symbols? Was it sort of John was here, so you knew John went that way? What did it mean? Did it all mean something? Did only some of it mean something? I guess we'll never know, but I would just love to know, you know? I would love to know more. Incredible. One thing that I do know for sure is you think, oh yeah, I totally get it. That's what humans do. And all humans are at least somewhat alike. And it's sort of humbling. Obviously, Native Americans were all over this continent, and just like us, they lived in the best spots, right? Like, they lived where Cincinnati is. They lived where all the big cities are, because that was the best spot to find food, to find water, and all that stuff. But a lot of their stuff there was built out of earth and wood, and here in the Southwest, there's a lot of stuff etched in stone and cliff dwellings and different pueblos and things built out of stone that we can still see today. And so there's just something kind of grounding and humbling about seeing that. And then you're driving around, you drive through Native American land today, and you think, oh yeah, you know, those people, they have the title to this land. And that's the thing, I just like history. I like stories. I like history, whether it's Native American, pioneer history, modern history, all history. Because although we all have our differences, each little segment of humanity, it's basically all human history, right? That's what I'm interested in, people and stories. So I like places like this, especially the juxtaposition, like this weird kind of almost cookie cutter-ish neighborhood. You know, we pass like a golf course on the way here, and then you turn your head and right across the street from where some kid might play in a kiddie pool, ancient Native American petroglyphs. How sick. All right, well, as I mentioned, we're headed down to the Las Vegas area to Boulder City, Nevada, specifically because I have to be at the little meet and greet thing tomorrow. So we got a couple of hours of driving to do. Time to hit the road. Oh, I think I might have been wrong. I think I might have been wrong about them discovering this while they were building this subdivision. This says Nellie and Harold Chesler were hiking with their grandkids. Kids scaled a rock and stumbled upon ancient petroglyphs. Inspired by the find, the Cheslers developed a plan to preserve the land for a future park. And then over here above the swing, I noticed this picture right here. I wonder if that's them. I wonder if that's them. All right, well, goodbye, Utah. We're hitting the state line right now. We got to cross through this little corner of Arizona. And I got to be honest with you, I've been in 59 states, all 48 contiguous states, driving through them. This might be one of my least favorite parts of America to drive through, not because I don't like the landscape and all that. The canyon's beautiful. This Virgin River Gorge, something about the combination of going downhill, the canyon walls, it's pretty, but you can't look. You're driving, there's trucks, it's just a little sliver, 27 miles to the Nevada state line from here. So just crossing through 27 miles of Arizona, but it's 27 pretty crazy miles. It gets crazy real quick. All right, here we go, down the gorge. Down the gorge. It is gorgeous. There's a lot of trucks and everybody goes so fast. Speed limit 55, we're going like 75. Oh, not one of these trucks goes 55. Everybody's bombing down this mountain. Oh, thank goodness everybody's slowing down a little bit. Oh. I don't know what it is. It's something about going down because like, I don't like heights, but yesterday when we were in that crazy haunt with Chris Provost and all that stuff, it was going down the stairs was worse than anything. Worse than going up, worse than the catwalk. Just something about down. Same thing when I'm driving, like going downhill a little bit, especially in canyons. I start to get a little of that kind of vertigo feeling while I'm driving. It's just trippy, that's all. It just unnerves me a little. Never get nervous going uphill, never get nervous, just twists and turns and stuff. Just it's something about the down. Speaking of which, here we go. We're going down. Yeah, see, look at all this stuff. It's all twisting and turning and going down, down, down. And there's rocks everywhere. Rocks. Then you get down into the worst part. This is the part that really unnerves me. It's the part where the cliffs are so huge. Look how tiny that semi-truck is down there. Oh boy. This is where it gets a little intense for me. Most people have no problem with this. It's just a me thing. I don't know what it is. I mean, like I said, it is one of the most beautiful places ever. It's gorgeous. I want to look around and go, wow, look at the majesty and the scenery. Maybe that's the problem, right? I want to look up and I can't look up and I can't look down and there's trucks everywhere. Somebody hit the fast forward button. Fast forward me out of here. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I had to stop at the Eagle's Landing, and Eagle's Landing is right. Feels like we came out of the Eagle's nest and had to land, had to fly down that mountain. It's funny because yesterday driving from Salt Lake down to Cedar City, there were some little bears that looked just like this, and some little dog things with the meh face. The only difference was it says I love Utah on the shirts instead of I love Arizona. I love that you can buy a little miniature purse and put things in it to put on your big purse. What? It's like weird. It's like it's a tiny tumbler with straw. You could use this, but why? But then again, why not? Oh, I like that. Julio-sized cowboy hat. I might buy this for him. I love truck stops. I mean, where else do you get a skeleton key knife? Wow, there's a lot of colorful cowboys in this part of Arizona. Apparently you got some sundresses, you got some shirts. I forgot my shirt, need to buy one. Pick one up. Pick me up a gun shirt. Guns and hearts and brass knuckles. Wow. Crystal trees. Allie's gonna love these. Oh, that's weird. Weird metal Mandalorians over here. You got some dragons. Oh, sick dragons. Oh my gosh, finally a sticker for me. I love the idea of pairing the cowboy hat with the slides here. Ooh, or maybe that keep on trucking hat. Oh, holy crap, premium eyewear. Premium? Oh, these are 2-in-1. Look at that. You get a dinosaur plushie and you get a big old lollipop. Look at the size of that. Beef jerky shaped like Illinois. I was just thinking about the vast chunk of my life being on tour in a band and all that stuff, and now this. that I have spent inside of truck stops. Ooh, this is good. High visibility safety gear.
Whoa, sweet Native American bucket hat, man.
See, I'm feeling a neck pillow. If only I could find one with skulls. Oh! Just feeling like I might want a neck pillow or something like that. The problem is I'm really patriotic. I really love America, but I also love skulls. And I can just never find the perfect... Wait a minute. Oh my gosh, my dreams have come true. Oh, there's no worries about that. No worries about that. So many plushies. So many. Oh, look at that. Look at that little happy Mickey. Hey, they got a lot of fun stuff in this one. Like, they have a lot of toys. And I just realized it's because there's probably a lot of travelers between Salt Lake and California coming through this way. A lot of kids headed to Disneyland, the Grand Canyon, maybe even to Las Vegas. There's a lot more fun stuff than you'd find like maybe on I-70 through Kansas or something. I'm sure this says flying chicken right here because you're supposed to flick them and they fly through the air. But it's got the price tag right there, so it looks like it was censored. Oh, look, it's the effing chicken. Got some animals right there. Hey, you guys want to talk smack? Let's talk a little smack, because look at this right here. I really enjoy this pedal boat. You can see the form here, the shape, the graphics are good. We're just talking smack, talking a little smack. Look at the miniature fishing set. Just realized I'm 42. I've never been fishing. Weird. Well, anyways, we're back on the road. We hit the Nevada state line just a few seconds ago. Now, just an hour and a half or so, down to Boulder City. This is awesome. We're just cresting the hill here, coming into Las Vegas, sort of past Nellis Air Force Base. And there's like the Thunderbirds or something's going on. Like there's some kind of air show or something. Like look at this, there are 4 jets just going straight up. I don't know if it's possible to see on camera. Super hard to get on camera, but it's amazing. Free air show while we're driving around. This is sick. Absolutely incredible. Oh man, that has to be the Thunderbirds or something. They're doing all kinds of tricks and stuff. I've seen jets do crazy stuff out here, like when I go to Area 51 and stuff like that. Heck, even out by Death Valley, but not right over the freeway like this. That's wild. That's crazy. I mean, I guess it could be the Blue Angels, although I don't know why the Blue Angels would be performing outside an Air Force base. But it is possible. That is so cool. Those guys are maniacs. Well, anyway, there's Las Vegas over there. Just gonna get through traffic, get on to Boulder City. All right, we nailed it. We're back in Boulder City, Nevada. The meetup is tomorrow. Of course, I just realized by the time you guys see this, it'll be over by then. We're just cruising right now back to Tom Develin's Monster Museum. Gotta organize, gotta get the stuff ready. Instead of it just being sort of a meet and greet thing, I brought a whole bunch of tikis. They have no prices on them or anything. We gotta figure everything out. That's the thing I am the worst at in the world, pricing things and doing stuff. Luckily, I have Tom and the staff to help me and guide me. Also Allie. So here we go, going in. Oh, back at the Monster Museum. There's Kayla right there, one of my favorite people. Allie's gonna go inside. She hasn't been inside in a while. Ah, feels good to be back. I keep coming over here, so I keep forgetting that Allie hasn't been inside in a long time, and Tom changes the museum literally every 5 days. And so it's all completely different from the last time Allie saw it when we were out here filming one of Tom's movies a couple of years ago. There's my bloody hat from Teddy Told Me To, and then look at that. There's the slate from the After Dark. I was in the After Dark. Right there. I'm right there. Ah, that was my scene. And these right here, these castle walls, are from the Random Land Midsummer Scream booth. Anyway, there's tons and tons to see in here. If you ever get a chance, come out to Tom Develin's Monster Museum. I'm always talking about it. Anyway, if you ever get a chance, definitely come out to Tom Develin's Monster Museum. It's just 30 minutes from the Strip, and yes, I'm always saying that and always coming here, but that's because I believe in Tom. You have friends like that where you appreciate their work and you believe in their work. You gotta have their back. But at the same time, I would never make a recommendation to you guys that I did not fully believe in. All right, we're gonna do a little pricing, and then finally get to a hotel to sleep well. All right, I'm a little nervous about tomorrow, but we took pictures of all the tikis. We can go back to the hotel and figure out what they cost. I can't even remember what I brought with me. I'm stoked to get to this hotel for a particular reason, which I'll explain in a second. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I'm so hungry. I'm so tired. I am ready for a little bit of a rest. I'm so stoked to be back. So, okay, so this entire trip, I have been staying at the same hotel chain every night. First time I've ever done that for more than like 2 or 3 nights. Like stay at the same brand of hotel. And here's how this started. On Route 66, I came across this place just randomly, this My Place Hotel in Amarillo years and years back. And then last year when London and I were going on a Route 66 trip, a really nice guy who works for that company was like, hey man, we'd really like to hook you up. Well, not the company, just him. He's like, I've seen your videos. I know you're going on this road trip with your son. If you ever want to stay in one of our places. And so he hooked us up. We stayed in Aurora, Illinois and Amarillo in one of these hotels, the My Place hotels. And I really like these for reasons which I'll show you once we get inside. But this same person, and I'm not sure if he wants his name mentioned, so I'll cut it out, I ran into in Florida and in the hallway at the Polynesian. He was like, oh man, you know, the videos and all the stuff. And he's like, hey, you feel free to hit me up or whatever. So I hit him up about going to Kansas City because I was doing that trip. And the same thing on this trip. It was like, it's kind of last minute, whatever. So I got a little bit of a hookup, full disclosure, on the hotel on this trip, which is what made it possible. So even though it's not like officially, it's not like My Place Hotel sponsored my journey or anything, but someone that works there hooked it up because last time I stayed there and showed it on Route 66, I guess they really enjoyed it, but I enjoy their product, they enjoy me enjoying their product, and there's a very good reason that I do. And by the way, it wasn't quid pro quo, nobody hooked me up with this in exchange for putting it in the video. I just put whatever I do in the video anyway. You know, and I didn't show you my hotel from yesterday or anything, but the reason I want to show this one is because this one is brand new. I like these because they're all mostly the same, but this is the newest one in the fleet right here in Henderson, so just outside of Las Vegas, just sort of on the edge where they're building all kinds of new hipster restaurants and all kinds of stuff. I think there's some Raiders buildings over here and stuff. This is the newest one in the fleet, and they've upgraded the rooms a little bit, or they're experimenting with a new experience, let's put it that way. So when you go inside the lobby, if you're familiar with these, there's still a little congregating area, the kind of TV area, the area for gathering, and they still have the little My Place store. You have the little free coffee 24 hours a day, and it is actually pretty good coffee. The store kind of has everything you need to stay for a while, including a bunch of kitchen stuff in here, because that's the whole theme of My Place, is their sort of extended stay. You can do an extended stay here, but just like the other ones, nice and familiar, except for this one has a little bit of a more upgraded twist, like I was saying. Oh, and here it is. This is what my friend who works for the company says is the new My Place experience. It's all upgraded, new carpet. Because here's the thing, all the My Places, which is something I like about them actually, are all the same, right? They're all designed the same. If you walk into one in, say, Salt Lake City where we just were, it felt just like the one that I was in Kansas City. So it's almost like, oh, I'm home again, which is kind of the thing, right? Come back to my place, and it feels like your place after you stayed at a few. So the company is well named, even though I think those of us from a certain generation will always be like, haha, the MySpace Hotel. Yeah, I do that too. Normally they have a little table with 2 seats, which I really like. I like the little sitting area. Me and London liked kind of sitting across from each other. Me and Allie the other night having a little dinner at the table. But now they've got little desks here, and the desk actually rolls out, so you could put the desk on this side with the chair or whatever. Here's the thing about My Place is it's a budget place. I don't want to get the facts wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe the founder of My Place used to, or his family used to own another budget hotel chain that I don't want to name in case I'm wrong. And I don't know if they lost control of it or sold it or what. But when he started the new chain, he also wanted it to be a value. And that's how I ended up staying in them in the first place, is because I was looking for a place like, why is this one so much cheaper than the others? I'll roll the dice. And it ended up being amazing for me because I'm on a road trip and I come walking through the door and there's a full-size fridge and freezer and a microwave and a little stovetop. Now, I have celiac disease and I cannot eat out at most restaurants. Even if they have gluten-free options, I'm very sensitive. And especially when you're traveling, like, you don't want to roll the dice on that. You don't want to get sick while you're on the road or traveling, or especially if you're only in one place for one night. And so the fact that you could come back here and actually make your own food, that's what I'm always doing anyways. I'm traveling with my own food in coolers, and then I look for hotels with microwaves and fridges. And of course the fridges are always really tiny. They're mostly made for drinks. They're beverage coolers really, and they don't fit a lot of stuff. There's no freezer to put stuff in if you're going to be in town for a couple of days. And so to be able to go get groceries and actually put groceries in here that you can actually freeze, fill up the whole fridge. I can fill it up with soda. I just put that in there, by the way. I don't think that was left over from another guest. And for me on road trips, like, I travel with my own silverware and all kinds of stuff. So to be able to actually have a nice sink, you know, like a kitchen sink, and not be washing out my dishes in a little tiny bathroom sink at a hotel. Oh, and a full-size trash can. If you do a lot of traveling, you'll know how much that means. You just have a normal full-size trash can. Some of the rooms will have 2 queen beds and stuff like that. So we were just in St. George, George, Utah, and that one had 2 queen beds. There were a lot of families there. There was actually a pool at that one, which I've never seen. Otherwise, they're pretty bare bones. You got a nice recliner, and I noticed that a lot of the clients are like construction workers, people who'll be on the job for like a couple weeks or months, and so you need like a budget-friendly place that just feels like home. They got a little laundry basket, and then downstairs they've got a laundry room. That's another thing I really appreciate when I'm on a road trip, that there's not just one machine for the entire hotel. I run into that problem all the time. Sort of like accidentally the perfect hotel chain for me, and it's like a crazy kismet, weird coincidence that I met a guy who actually works for that company and then showed them that I enjoyed their hotels, and then they enjoyed enjoying back, which is also really nice. So this whole trip, we had the hookup. So this is just so great for me because I just bought some Costa Vida in St. George, Utah, traveled down here, drove for a couple hours. Now I put it in the fridge. I'm going to be able to reheat my food in the microwave. I got paper plates and bowls with me. But I like that little store downstairs because they have all that stuff. Like if you were going to stay for a month, you could buy some metal forks. You could buy a little silverware tray. Like I said, everything is bare bones on purpose to keep the prices low and to keep the value high. And I know all that now because I've been talking to this guy that works there. Like, oh, there's a method behind the madness. And I know this will be a niche thing and probably only important to just me. And nobody asked me to film this. And I'm just filming this to show you guys where I'm staying and why. But I've just stayed in so many of them and they're all the same. And then now, woo, a new My Place experience. Like, look at this. They got all new countertops. They're kind of making it feel like, oh, they're keeping up with the competitors and all that stuff. Because I will say the one thing about My Place, very bare bones, and I like it. I guess I shouldn't say bare bones. A marketing person would probably say no frills. Like if there are no frills places. But I guess they were starting to show their age in terms of like, well, you know, the kind of furniture selections and stuff. These things go in cycles and they're constantly being updated and changed. And so I think this is kind of like the first step in a new direction in terms of just, you know, the fixtures and the countertops and the aesthetics of it. Because luckily, the good thing is, when I heard they're going to have a new style, I was like, new style? I kind of like what you got going on. With this, we're getting the benefit of the new aesthetics, which actually does make it feel like nice and clean. Everything feels all brand new. Well, it is brand new. This is the newest one in the fleet, like I was saying. But it's the same like fundamentals that I can count on, which is really important to me. The fridge, the microwave, the little stovetop is nice. I'm not going to use that one this trip probably, but I have used it. I used it in Kansas City. Got the nice recliner, which is where my backpacks and my jackets usually live. And then look at this. Allie's already hung up the jacket selections. Get a little cold outside. Time to switch the jackets. Do the old switcheroo. See, Allie's civilizing me. She actually hangs up the jackets instead of me just chucking them over the chair. Oh, I see. The chair's for purses when Allie's around. And I'll tell you what, I have another thing that I really liked. I've never tried staying in the same chain night after night for like 5 or 6 nights before. And I just realized something. Like, that's the move. Because normally, you know, like I'm getting the hotel the same night that I'm in a place like Route 66 or something. Like I don't know where I'm going to sleep. And so I might get a Quality Inn or something. And then I might switch over to, I don't know, Holiday Inn Express maybe the next night. Or any name, insert any brand name. La Quinta, Motel, whatever it is, and each night different type of pillows, different type of blankets, different sheet blanket tuck arrangement. And when I've been filming all day for like, you know, I don't know, 12 hours, then I'm editing all night for 6 more hours, and then I gotta go to take a bath really quick or shower and go to sleep, all that kind of stuff. You're tired, you're exhausted, and you lay down, it's like, oh, the pillow's all different. I kind of like staying in the same place over and over, like the same brand, because then I got used to it. That's just a me thing. That's not a My Place benefit. That's just like, oh, I've never done that before, and it's kind of nice. Like it kind of feels like, oh yeah, I know this pillow. And same thing, how the layouts of the rooms are all the same. Like I said, no frills. There's not a lot of difference between them, but I like that sameness because it makes it feel familiar. It makes me feel like I've been in this room already, and I'll be able to go right to sleep. I'm not in a strange place. I feel like I'm in my place. I know this sounds like a commercial. Hey, I would do commercials for this company for free. They hooked me up. I'm very stoked. And I don't think a lot of people have heard of this. So if you do a lot of traveling, this will be more interesting to you, especially if you have dietary restrictions like me. Oh, and the other thing is that both Allie and I love the fact that all of the My Place hotels, man, I like that mirror. That's really cool. That all the My Place hotels have bathtubs. And I'm really, really glad that they didn't do away with the bathtubs for the new design, because some people need bathtubs for medical reasons. Often, if you have kids, like if you've ever traveled with a baby or toddler, like you need a bathtub. I totally get why some people don't like the bathtub in a hotel, but I always think it's like the hotel cheaping out if they don't have a bathtub. Like sometimes you just want a tub. Anyway, we're here. We're settled. Actually, Allie went to return the luggage car. I was like, why did she leave the room? I'm going to get Costa Vida. I noticed in the lobby they said a thing where there's no Grubhub delivery fees. I don't know if that's just for this location or for all of them. like if you use that. So Allie will probably order something. A bunch of stuff I never really noticed before because I probably wasn't looking, like, breakfast delivered to your rooms. I don't know if you buy that or what that is. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I guess that sounds a little bit like a commercial, but it's honestly just me recommending something because I've just stayed in them for, what's today, the 4th? So for the last 5 nights I've been staying in them. I really like it. It works really well for me on long road trips because the laundry rooms, the fridge, the freezer, all the stuff that I just told you, the celiac disease, needing that bathtub to just kind of soak in sometimes. And honestly, like, it fits the budget, right? And I film all my hotels. I'll film my hotels in Disney World. I'll show you where I stay out there. I'll show you where I stay on Route 66, all the different places. And this is just one of many places that I'll stay. I like that it's budget friendly. Like, even when I'm looking around for other places, if there's a My Place in the area, that's the biggest challenge with My Places. They're not everywhere yet. But if there's one in the area, even if I'm booking it at the last minute, I always notice it's either like right on par with other hotels around or less expensive than other hotels around. Maybe that's just because nobody knows about it. Maybe I shouldn't tell you guys about it. Maybe I should keep the secret all to myself. All to myself. Anyways, I'm starving. I'm nervous because we have all this stuff to do tomorrow. And we got to get up early. We got to go plan out. We're going to set up the table, all this stuff. Kind of a random adventure today, which is fun. I like those ones. I like those ones. They're harder to figure out a title for, so other people can click on it and enjoy it. But I like the random adventures. I like exploring little downtowns and places I've never been before. I hope you enjoyed it too. Thank you for watching. Now I am ready. I don't know if you can tell, but I can't talk. I'm kind of being long-winded about all the things that I'm saying because I can't think anymore. It's time for me to hotel and sleep. No, wait, eat. Well, I'll catch up with you guys next time. There's a whole like little splash stream and little water. I cannot believe that I stuttered like that. Not just because Tom's my friend, but because when I appreciate something, really believe, I don't know what I'm saying. Delete that.